The Alcatraz escape is one of the most intriguing in U.S. history, and to this day it raises doubts about whether the fugitive survived. Strong evidence suggests that the three prisoners who escaped did, in fact, change their identities and were never caught again. One of the most credible pieces of evidence that surfaced over the years was a letter received by the FBI in 2013, allegedly sent by one of the Anglin brothers. To understand why this case was reopened and how the prisoners planned the escape, stay with me until the end of this video. Let's go back to 1962. You're imprisoned on an island. Not just any island. A concrete fortress in the middle of the sea, surrounded by waters colder than 12 degrees Celsius, infested with sharks and with currents so strong that even Olympic swimmers hesitate. This island is called Alcatraz, the most secure prison the United States ever built. Or was. Because in 1962, 3 men vanished from there. Without a trace, no bodies, no conclusive clues. To this day, no one knows for sure whether they died or managed to escape from something considered impossible. The mastermind behind the operation was named Frank Lee Morris. He had an above-average IQ, 133, according to prison records. Since childhood, he had been involved in crime, but what stood out was his calm, discipline, and ability to calculate every move. He had been arrested multiple times and had managed to escape from other prisons. When he was finally recaptured, they sent him to where they sent the irredeemable, Alcatraz. There, he met John and Clarence Anglin, brothers raised in a poor family in Georgia. They grew up swimming in cold Florida rivers and, unlike most inmates, had an absurd resistance to cold. They were also there for bank robbery, but they were discreet, hardworking, and shared Frank's desire to escape. Alongside them was Alan West, the fourth member of the group. He was the one who first discovered the secret route, a disused ventilation area behind the cells in Block B. From there, the plan began to take shape. For 7 months, they dug through the cell walls using spoons, sandpaper, metal scraps, and a stolen electric motor turned into a drill. The walls were weakened by the island's moisture and salt, which made the job easier. They progressed a few centimeters each night, always during the quietest hours in the prison. To avoid being caught, they hid the debris in their pants or pockets and discarded it little by little in the yard, disguised with natural dust. The back of the cells led to a narrow maintenance corridor used only by staff, and there they hid tools, raft pieces, paddles, and improvised equipment. And the disguises? This was one of the plan's most brilliant elements. Knowing that guards did nightly inspections, each inmate built a fake head out of papier-mâché, soap, cement, and real human hair. The heads were so convincing, they are now preserved in museums. The hair was collected from the prison barbershop with the help of fellow inmates. The heads were placed on fake pillows, with towels wrapped to simulate body contours. When guards walked by, they saw the inmate sleeping on their side, face turned to the wall. A simple but effective trick. But what really makes this story unbelievable is the plan to escape the island. They knew breaking out of the cells wasn't enough. Alcatraz was nearly 2.5 kilometers from the mainland, and the water was cold enough to cause hypothermia in under 20 minutes. So, they began stealing prison-issued raincoats, little by little, from the storeroom. They used over 50 coats, stitched together with laundry thread and glued using a paste made from toothpaste, soap, and paper. The inflatable raft was secretly tested in a hidden area of the prison. Yes, they managed to inflate it using a hand blower made from accordion parts stolen from the prison band. The paddles were made from plywood taken from baseboards and broken tools. Every part of the plan carried extreme risks. They had to dig for hours, hand-stitch materials, hide everything in a secret tunnel stash, and keep up a normal routine during the day. One mistake, and they'd be sent to solitary for an indefinite time. On the night of June 11th, 1962, with everything ready, the 4 men put the plan into action. Frank, John, and Clarence made it through the hole in their cells and reached the maintenance tunnel. But Alan West got stuck. He had sealed the fake grill with so much cement that he couldn't remove it. He tried for over an hour, but couldn't get through. When he finally opened the passage, The others were already gone. The three who made it climbed onto the roof, slid down external pipes, crossed the yard, and reached the island's edge. There, they inflated the handmade raft and vanished into the sea around 10 p.m. The next morning, a guard noticed that Frank hadn't woken up. He called out, got no response. When he shined his flashlight, he saw the fake head on the pillow. It rolled and fell to the floor. The alarm was raised immediately. The entire prison went into lockdown. The FBI, Navy, Coast Guard, and even helicopters joined the search. They found a floating paddle, pieces of raincoat near Angel Island, and a plastic wallet with photos of the Anglin brothers, wrapped in plastic. But no bodies. The mystery that was never solved. Officially, the FBI closed the case in 1979, stating the fugitives likely drowned. But there was no proof. No bodies washed ashore, and experts claim that during that time of year, the sea was relatively calm and the crossing was possible with an inflatable raft, especially for people like the Anglins, who grew up swimming in cold water. And then the clues started to emerge. Strange, unexplained. 1975, a family friend, Fred Brizzi, handed over a photo taken in Brazil. In it, two middle-aged men stand next to a plantation. He said he met the Anglin brothers in Rio Branco, Acre, and they asked not to be reported. The photo was analyzed by the military and forensic experts in 2015, with over 90% facial match probability. 1973, at the funeral of the Anglin brothers' mother, two men in suits and hats appeared, stayed at the back of the ceremony, cried, and vanished before the burial. Relatives swear they were John and Clarence. Witnesses confirmed the men seemed very emotional but wanted to remain hidden. Decades of mysterious flowers. The Anglin brothers' mother received anonymous flowers on important dates like birthdays. No one ever found out who sent them. In 2013, the FBI received an anonymous letter allegedly written by John Anglin, one of the three Alcatraz fugitives. In the letter, he claimed to be alive, 83 years old, and suffering from terminal cancer. He wrote, "I escaped from Alcatraz with my brothers and Frank Morris. I want to negotiate my surrender in exchange for medical treatment." The letter was sent to the FBI office in San Francisco and was taken seriously enough to temporarily reopen the case, something that hadn't happened since 1979. The handwriting analysis was inconclusive, but leaked documents from CBS News indicated that the letter's content aligned with long-standing suspicions that the Anglin brothers survived. Although the FBI never publicly confirmed its authenticity, it didn't dismiss the letter and left the case pending new evidence. For many, that letter is the greatest proof that at least one of the fugitives was alive more than 50 years after the escape. And maybe for a brief moment, he tried to return. 2015. A History Channel documentary showed an AI-enhanced forensic simulation of the Brazil photo. The results showed a very high resemblance to the Anglin brothers. The FBI said it wasn't conclusive, but never ruled it out. The final question. Did they survive? Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin managed to escape from the most secure prison in the world. That's a fact. What we don't know is, what happened next? Did they die in the freezing waters? Or did they cross the bay, reach the mainland, and disappear into a new life? Perhaps in Brazil, perhaps in Mexico. To this day, there is no definitive proof of death or life, only clues, and a silence that has lasted over 60 years. And meanwhile, the question still echoes through the empty walls of the former Alcatraz prison, now a museum. Did the perfect crime happen, and no one noticed? Leave a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. A big hug from Mr. Square.